Welcome to another life-transforming episode of It's Time. Thank you for inviting us in your home, car, hotel room, or prison cell. It's time for healing, restoration, truth, repentance, and deliverance. Open your heart and prepare to receive inspiration and revelation. It's time. You may be asking, who is she? Is she another preacher? Why is she here? Like John the Baptist, I am a voice, not crying out in the wilderness, but over the airways and into the atmosphere, to encourage you to restore your relationship with Jesus. I am here to encourage you to foster a relationship with Jesus. I am here to help the bride get ready to meet her bridegroom. I am here to let you know that Jesus is on his way and it's time to pull up our socks, buckle our shoes, and run the race set before us. Today we will be talking about a very touchy subject, incest. Many people are going through it, have gone through it, and are embarrassed to speak about it. But today with me is Minister Juliet Bright. She will be putting herself on the line and we will be talking to her. So, welcome, Miss Juliet Bright.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to get right into our program this evening. There are so many people out there who are struggling with coming forth with their story because they've been molested, whether by a father, a brother, a mother, a sister, whomever it is. But may I ask you, why now? Why today? Why do you want to come forth with your story?
I would like to come forth with my story because it's time, like you said, to reach people. It's time for them to let go and let God. Okay. It's time for them to start living and stop existing.
And as you have said, let me hear a little bit about what happened.
It happened one night. I was about 13 years old. Mm-hmm. I'd gone to my father to get some funds for school. Mm-hmm. And as we sat there on the sofa, he said, "I love you." And I said, "Of course, I love you too, Dad. You know, it's my dad." So I threw my arms around his neck. And he started kissing me on the cheek at first. Okay. And then before I know it, he was kissing me on the lips. And kind of pulled back a little bit. I'm like, "Dad." He's like, "I love you. It's okay." So it's my dad. I'm thinking, well, it's okay, I guess. So I let him kiss me. And after the kissing, then he started fondling me. And that's when I kind of drew the brakes. I'm like, okay, I gotta go to bed.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do then?
I got up and I went upstairs to bed, thinking, okay, he's not gonna follow me. He's gonna go to his bedroom with his wife. Okay. But unfortunately, that's not what happened.
And so you thought he was gonna go to bed and not follow you. So are you saying he followed you to your bedroom?
Well, I remember kneeling down and praying. Because at that young age, I knew there was a God and I believed in God. And I prayed, I said, "Lord, I'm going to sleep now. But Lord, please, if anything's going to happen tonight, just open my eyes. Send angels to protect me." I remember saying that. Okay. And so I went to sleep thinking, okay, I know God's got me. And just like I don't know what time it was afterwards, but he did come upstairs, and the next thing I know, my eyes are open, and my dad's over me naked, completely naked, and telling me, "Shh, shh."
And what did you do?
I screamed.
Okay.
I lost it, completely lost it. Of course, I'd never seen my dad naked before. It was...
And you were how old?
13 years old.
13 years old. And when you screamed, what happened? Did someone came to your rescue? Your mom?
His wife was in the next bedroom.
His wife?
Yes, my stepmother. And she came out and everything broke loose.
So what did she say? What did she do?
She really didn't say much because my dad was the kind of person that you kind of was afraid of sometimes. And so she didn't really say much, but she kind of told me, go downstairs, go downstairs. And so that's what I did. I just kind of grabbed my bag, grabbed my uniform, because I had left straight from school. So I grabbed my bag, I grabbed my uniform, and I just took off. I left the house at about 1 a.m. in the morning.
Age 13, it's now nighttime, and this happened, and you left the house. Where did you go?
Went back home to my mom.
How did you get home?
It was a taxi. I saw a taxi man because buses didn't run at that time of the night. And I remember saying, Lord, please help me. Went up to him and I said, I really need a ride. And he said, do you have money? And I said, no. But when I get to my mom, she'll pay you. And he said, where are you going? I told him Barbican Road, and he said he would take me.
Now you have arrived home, 1 a.m. in the morning. What was your mom's reaction when you told her what happened?
My mom was ready. She was fit to be tied. She was ready to kill someone. Yes.
Okay. So going forward, between age 13, what happened after that? Did you see your father? Did he?
No, there was no communication with my dad for at least the next 5 years. I think I was about 18 when I reached out to him for a second time, trying to build that relationship, because I think every little girl just wants a dad. You need a dad. And I remember I was graduating from high school. I wanted to learn to drive. And I said, let me reach out to Dad. So I actually went down to his place of work. And he was a superintendent of the prisons. So he was a big wig, if you want to call it that. But I remember going there, and he was happy to see me. I said, Dad, I'd really like if you teach me to drive. We never talked about anything that happened. We just kind of just pretended it didn't happen, which was fine by me at the time. And he said, of course I'll teach you to drive. He took me to lunch, and then he said, okay, we'll set a date and a time. And that's what he did. And so one evening he came, he picked me up from school, and he said, okay, we'll go to the parking lot over there. And sure enough, we're in the car in the parking lot. I'm thinking there's nothing that can happen in the car.
And you're now 18 years old?
I'm 18 years old. Nothing's going to happen in the car. He's just going to teach me to drive, take me home. But of course, we're in the car, and his hand goes under my skirt.
No.
Yes.
And what did you do?
And that's when I said, okay, Dad, I'm going home. Just let me out of the car. And he actually tried to lock the door and not let me out. I said, if you don't open the door, I'll scream. So he let me out, and I walked home.
So from 18 years, you were 18 years old. Did you ever see him again after that?
No, didn't see my dad. I migrated to the States, and so now I'm in Florida, and I get a phone call, and it's my father. And now I'm in my late 30s, had 2 children, been married, and I'm thinking, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time for?
Maybe it's time to try again, one last time.
To try to build a relationship
To
with him?
build a relationship with my dad.
Okay.
And so he calls me, and he says, I'd like to come and visit you. And I'm thinking, okay. But I had already forgiven him, I think, deep down inside, and wanted that relationship. So I said, yeah, sure, Dad, come. And he did.
Okay.
And when he came, I must tell you, it was the best 2 months of my life.
Wow. How so?
The best 2 months of my life. Well, my dad had changed. My dad had given himself to the Lord. And to make it real for me, I remember one evening we're sitting on the sofa in the living room, and I'm sitting watching TV. The kids are in their room, and my dad looks at me and he says, Juliet. And I said, yes, Dad. And he says, I want to talk to you. And I said, okay. But then I look at him and he's wiping his eyes. I'm like, what's the matter? Are you okay? I'm thinking he's going to tell me he's sick or something. And he says, I just want you to know I've always wanted to say I'm sorry, but I never thought sorry would ever be enough.
So, just to recap, your dad came to visit you, but his action was changed.
He had changed. He
Now
was a
he's
changed
sitting there and tears running down his eyes. So could it be that he was mulling over what he had done and feel that remorse? So now is it as you, could we say that he had a dealing with himself?
Yes.
He had a conversation with himself. So now he's sorry and he's ready to repent. He reached out to you. And what did you do after that? And what was the relationship after that?
I remember saying, Dad, it's definitely time. It's our time. And I had already forgiven him. So what it did for me, though, was that it changed my scope of everything. Now I really felt the forgiveness. Before it was just like something, okay, I had to do. But now the forgiveness was real because he was being real. Yes.
He was being real. So let me ask you, after you've decided to accept him here, how long did the relationship prolong?
My dad died the next year.
Wow.
He had prostate cancer and it had spread to the bones. So you can see it was time.
So God was really dealing with him and he was trying to make peace with what he had done. So how did you reach that point of forgiveness?
You know, forgiveness had never been hard for me. But like I said, it didn't feel real until that point in my life. It made me realize that this is really what God's talking about when he talks about forgiveness. Because like I said, even though I had forgiven him, it just didn't, it hadn't touched my heart. It was just as if it wasn't real.
Okay. Forgiveness. So there are people watching you right now who have encountered this thing, incest. Some are still going through it. What would you say to them? What do you want to say to them?
I want to tell them to let it go. I want to tell them they might never get the words, I'm sorry, but God's got them. And if they forgive, it's not for him, it's for them.
It's for them. Wow. This is deep. Someone may say to you, well, he just fondled you. He just touched you. But he's been penetrating me for years and I'm helpless. What and how can you say, just let it go? How do I let it go? What would you say to such a one?
That's when you turn to God. That's when you ask God to comfort you. That's when you ask God to take it away. Because like you said, it's, for me, it was just fondling. For them, it's a whole different extreme. And so that's when you really go to God.
Wow. This one is deep. This one is a very touchy subject. As you hear Minister Juliet Bright mentioned what happened to her by the hand of her father. And here I'm sure there are many people out there who are going through the same thing but have no outlet. Many are afraid to speak because they're fearing that no one will believe them. They are being threatened. If you talk, then what will happen? So, my words of encouragement to you today. You may be going through this situation, but don't keep silent. Do not hold any secret for Satan. When you keep quiet, you are giving permission to the perpetrator to continue. Reach out to someone, reach out to a pastor, reach out to a counselor, reach out to your neighbor, whomever you can trust and confident that they will encourage you and tell you to do the right thing. All is not lost. Incest is a sin The Bible tells you in Leviticus chapter 18 down, it tells you that it is a sin for you to sleep as a father, sleep with your daughter, brothers and sisters, mothers and son. You should not sleep with the next of kin. And if you find yourself in that position and you're still on repentance ground, it's time to talk to God about it. It's time to empty yourself. It's a spirit. Incest is driven by a spirit. Do not allow it to cause you to lose your joy, your peace, or your happiness. Speak to God about it. If you're the one who are committing the incest, it is wrong, and it's time for you to stop. It's time for you to quit. It's time to clean your temple. It's time to surrender your mind, your spirit, your soul, and body to God. It's time.
Are you satisfied with the way your loved one is being treated in their golden years? Are you comfortable with their level of care? Are you pleased with the facility, their new home? Do you sleep well at night, believing that their environment is safe? Do you believe they're receiving personalized care? If you answer no to any of the above, it's time to give Eden's Garden Assisted Living Facility a call today. A nurse is always on premises, and their monthly rates are affordable and all-inclusive. They're in Palm Bay, Florida. Don't delay. Call today.
Have you ever wondered why your prayers are not being answered? I have, but look what I found. 38 reasons for unanswered prayers. Not only does it keep you at the edge of your seat, it's a must-have for your Bible studies, conferences, seminars, prayer meetings, and book club. It's a must-have. Get a copy or two for a friend or few.
Oh, I need those for my book club.
Okay, Miss Juliet, so let me ask you, how did that situation affect your family?
Oh, wow. It was really hard at first because our family was torn apart. My mom was very irate, like I said, when it first happened. She told me not to reach out to my dad ever again. But like I said, I wanted to foster a relationship. I really felt like I wanted my dad in my life. And so that's why I reached out to him, not only the second time, but a third time. And so even my sisters were against me for doing that because they felt like, why are you reaching out to him?
Okay, so they knew what happened.
They all knew.
And they were on your side.
Yes, they
Because not too many families are on the victim side. They often say you put it in their way. No, they didn't do that. They don't believe. So you were fortunate or blessed to have a family who supported you.
Yes.
And wanted you to just forget about your father.
Yes.
But you would not. Why?
I really felt like there was something in my dad. I really, and I really feel deep down that there are people, everyone has something good inside. And so even though he had done something bad, I felt there was still something good inside.
What about your children? Do they know about it?
Yes, my daughter knows now. She's grown and she knows. And my son also knows. They're both grown, yes.
You said your daughter knows now. So is it recent that you told her, or?
Not recent, but since she became an adult, yes.
So how does it affect you emotionally?
Back then or now?
Both.
Okay, well, back then I was a basket case, made a lot of bad choices with relationships. I think always looking for that father figure that I never had. And so my first husband was like almost 12 years older than I was. But now, and after we sealed or cemented the relationship, I really feel like God has taken me to a different place. At many times during my life, I felt I was just existing. Now I really feel like I'm living. I feel like I've let go. I feel free. And so I thank God for that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I want to remind you that He has never brought you this far to leave you.
Thank you.
Whatever you have gone through, He is your daddy. Continue to call on Him. And I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure it must have taken a lot of nerve for being here, but I am happy that you came. Thank you so much for sharing your story on It's Time. Speaking about it's time to go to a commercial break, followed by a solo by Minister Joan Nesbitt. He has never brought you this far to leave you.
I'm Evangelist Jasmine Gordon, the founder of Ministries Without Boundaries International, a 501c3 nonprofit organization located in Palm Bay, Florida. Since 2006, we've been called to serve the less fortunate, disenfranchised, and single parents locally and internationally. For the past 10 years, we have provided Mother's Day dinner and entertainment for the mothers in our community. We've hosted conferences, prayer breakfast, Father's Day dinner, and medical mission trips through which lives were impacted and transformed. And we will continue to do so with your support.
There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. How can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from, and nobody told me that this road, that it would be easy, but I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me. Never said there wouldn't be trials, never said I wouldn't fall, never said that everything would go the way I wanted to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I'll just lift my head up to the sky and say, Lord, help me to be strong. I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I start from, and nobody told me that this road, that it would be easy, but I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me. No, He didn't bring me out here to leave me lonely. Even when I can't see clearly, I know that He is with me, and I can't give up now.
That was such a beautiful rendition by Miss Joanne Nesbeth. He has not brought you this far to leave you. You've heard Juliet's story. She was only 13 years old, helpless. And the person who's supposed to protect her is the same one who violated her. But I want to let you know, if you are in the same position, it's not your fault. You didn't ask for this. You did not ask to be violated. And if you don't already know how to get help or to speak to someone, reach out to us. We will point you in the right direction. So many times you may have gone to your bed hoping that you're not here in this world anymore because of the inner turmoil, because of the molestation in your mind, the anxiety, the fear. But God still loves you. You may ask, so where was he when all of this was happening? Unfortunately, it happens to you, but it's also for you to help someone who is going through or has gone through. Just don't beat up on yourself. Again, it's not your fault. You did not ask to be abused. You did not ask to be molested. You did not ask to be placed in this position. I encourage you once again to reach out to us for help. I can hear you crying out for help. That's why we're here. It's time for you to get help. It's time for you to relieve yourself of this burden and this turmoil and this demon that's riding on your back. It's time. But don't forget to join us next week, same time, same place, for another soul-stirring episode. We will be speaking about once saved, always saved. And that's not a statement, but a question. So stay tuned.
I'm Evangelist Jasmine Gordon. Thank you for inviting me in your home, car, hotel room, and place of work. I do hope you've gained something from this soul-stirring episode. We would love to hear from you. Call, text, or write us at the information listed below. And if you are led to sow into Ministries Without Boundaries, you may do so via Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, or the P.O. Box. And don't forget to join us for another soul-stirring episode right here, for it's time.